Hey everyone, this is Autism Beyond the Label. I am Shyheem Shabazz, and this is my mother.
Hi, I'm Antoinette, and we're here today to show you some more into our life, sharing our life beyond the label of autism. And of course, Shaheem is here, and he'll be doing some of the talking as well. So we're just going to go ahead and get started. Again, for those that are tuning in for the very first time, we are here just kind of showing a little bit of our life beyond the label of autism so that
Amen.
so that we can help other people who might be going through some of the things that we've already been through. So another reason is, I don't know if you were on here before, but we wanted to start Autism Beyond the Label with Shyheem because other than seeing a lot of celebrities talk about the autism, we don't have a whole lot of people that we can reach out to directly to get information. And a whole lot of people in the African American community, especially for some reason, they don't come forward and want to talk about it. So we're just here to share our story. Okay? All right. So last time we were here, we left off at what?
We left up at when I entered in the third grade.
Right. So last time we were here, we talked about entering the third grade or
I just said it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so this is when we were introduced. I think it was actually when we moved here, and Shyheem had to repeat the second grade. That's what it was. We were moving here so that we could repeat the second grade, and that's when we went on and got the IEP for him put in place. Now, if you're not familiar with IEP is an individualized education plan. And when you have a child who has autism or any kind of disability, in order for you to get these helpful tools in place, then you have to either have a 504 or an IEP. Now, the difference between the 504 and IEP in my research has been the 504 is when you think that your child needs the help, but they have not been diagnosed. So I'm thinking that's what's it. And if it's wrong out there and someone is more knowledgeable about it than me, then let me know. But Shyheem, we did go ahead and have him tested. And of course, when we got an IEP, this is IEP, and there's a whole lot of pages. And we was kind of skeptical at first about getting him tested. And it's because you hear a whole lot of people talk about it all the time of you don't want that label of your kid, or it falls under this umbrella of special needs, and therefore they won't be able to do a lot of things on their own when they're older, or they won't receive the benefits, all these different kind of things that I had heard. But for me, it was an easy decision once I thought about how much it would help him. So that's what we did. So anyway, we went on, we had him tested. They did a full evaluation, a full and an individual evaluation, which of course they send you a survey home, and they want to know how he's doing at home, what different things that you recognize, what are your concerns. And then of course they do their own evaluation as well. So Shyheem started to be under the IEP, and that's where things started to get better, right?
Yes.
So what do you think are some things that got better once we put the IEP in place? Do you remember?
Much of it.
Okay, so what would you say got better once we got the IEP in place?
Like, okay,
Just say what you remember.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Communicating better, but like during the time I was having trouble with eye contact.
Okay.
Which we'll get on later. We'll get onto that later. Like me developing into a much more better, mature person.
So I think like some of the things that he was struggling with was staying on task was a big thing.
Yes.
Staying on task was very difficult because Shyheem enjoyed animation and drawing different characters so much that it occupied all of his time. Even when he was supposed to be learning in class, he was drawing or entertaining the rest of the kids in class, making them laugh at the wrong and appropriate times. So we met Miss Miller House, who was a skill specialist. She was amazing. Miss Miller House stepped in and she filled in all the gaps that we need fill it. So what did she do to help the problem? Do you remember what she did to help the problem of you doing your cartoon and doing your real work?
I mean, like you basically kind of like gave it a little bit of that.
Okay,
way.
well,
Like,
go ahead and tell the people.
Yeah, it was during when I attended all elementary school, and like that's when I did make Miss Miller House. One day, like she just, she gave me this little card. One side had the real world, and the other side had cartoon world, and it just taught me how to just, how to deal with that in real life. To like focus on like, being in the real world, like what goes on, and like the many different benefits of, just how to handle life in the real world, and how to like, handle your own little fantasies in a cartoon world when you're that type of kid.
So would you say that she kind of taught you how to focus? Like right now, when you turned it on the side that said real world, that means, Shyheem, we're not going to answer anything related to cartoon. We're talking about real world right now.
Yes.
Yeah. And the reason why I butted in and said that is because sometimes you, in communication, of course, it takes you talking and someone listening. So it would be times where I would ask Shyheem, how was your day at school today? Okay, just something very basic. But then Shyheem would come off topic, yes. And then he would say something like, yeah, the train that went by the bus, something. But that has nothing to do with the topic that we were talking about. That was just something that he had in his mind that was way off of what we were talking about. You see what I'm saying? So Mr. Miller House helped him to focus in on the things that was important, which in school it's important to focus on your work. And then when there's opportunity for you to do cartoons and things like that.
During that time.
During that time.
That was like, immature, like,
yeah,
like any other kid.
But again, getting back to the IEP and why it helped and it was such a beneficial tool for us is because we could actually set goals. So we would go in and we would talk in a meeting, in a group setting, and we would decide on the things that we wanted to be the goals towards what Shyheem would strive to improve on. And so we just listed a bunch of things, whether it was he'll be able to do addition and subtraction on his own with no help, or he'll be able to read his own questions in English and be able to attempt to answer them on his own without any assistance at least twice. Simple little goals like that. And then the more that they work on them and he checks those off, then we just continue to set new goals. So that's why we say once that was in place, it helped a lot. It also allowed him to have modifications. So he got to you got to use a calculator.
Yes.
You got extended time on tests. He got preferential seating in the front of the class. A lot of things came with that. Miss Miller House really helped us out a lot. As far as what else? What else did you get? Oh, you got breaks during tests, didn't you? Did you get to have breaks?
That's for anybody.
Did you?
That's basically for.
But then you were allowed to go to if it was too loud in there or something was going on, or if you weren't able to focus, couldn't they move you to the hallway or something? I thought that was one of them.
That was another one of them too, but I didn't take that like very seriously. Like if some very autistic kid was like heard some loud noise, then that would be a problem for them. Gotcha.
Now you just told the people that it was like very autistic kids. So what do you mean it's very autistic?
Those ones where they can't really control themselves, where they're just like.
Okay, so he's talking about the kids that do the stimming. Like we were talking about before, the spectrum of autism is so wide that you have kids that are on different ends of the spectrum. So for Shyheem, when he says, I just wanted you all to understand what he was saying. When you say very autistic. That means the kids who are doing the flapping. You'll see kids that are flap with their arms, or sometimes they'll
they'll just be all frantic and stuff like all the time, and just looking all around and just being in their own little world.
Right, but we understand that everybody has their own, they're on their own path with this autism. So, let's see. Another thing that we benefited from was what else? What else that was really good? What else? I don't know. Okay, so we'll just continue talking. And I don't think we'll be on here long. There's no need for us to break it up in segments going from, third grade, fourth grade. We'll just go all the way through the school year and try to complete everything all the way through 12th grade. So once we got the IEP in place, everything was great. We could modify, tell people what we needed, and they would make those changes for us. Also, it was... I had a big concern that when Shyheem moved to middle school, that there would no longer be someone there to walk you to class. Once you get out of elementary school, you're in middle school and you have to walk all by yourself. You have to change clothes for PE. So that was a big concern for me. But being that we had our life skills specialist, Miss Miller House, she gave us those tools which were allowed us to get his schedule early. During the summer, we could pick his schedule up early. We could walk the halls and go to each class that was on his schedule before anybody else was, crowded in the hallway. We would have the opportunity to make sure we walked through so that he was comfortable on the first day. What else did they do for you as far as PE? Do you remember? Changing clothes, were you able to change somewhere else, or did you change with everybody? I can't remember.
Yeah, of course you do change with everybody.
No, I'm saying for you, did they allow you to go early? No. I think that was one of the options, though, and I do know that we put in that Shyheem needed to have all his classes on one level. So here the schools are very large, and I had a concern about him going up and down the stairs being late for class or back and forth to his locker and things like that. So they made sure that all his classes was on one level. So that way, once he came down, I think you had to come down for PE and lunch.
I did.
Yes. And then once he comes down for that was the end of his school day, I think. Everything else was good. So he didn't have to run up and down the stairs and things like that. We really didn't have any issues with bullying or anything like that. And I think that's because they had like mentors in place where they would kind of come and shadow him for the first 2 weeks, I think, of school, shadow him to make sure that everything was cool. And then you were introduced to PALS also. Do you remember what PALS was?
Oh, wait. Yes.
Yeah, PALS was in middle school too.
It was. Yeah, it was in middle school.
So what was PALS about?
Okay, so PALS was all about like high schoolers coming to middle school and being some kind of like, kind of like mentor or guide or something related to telling them all about like life and like in general. Yeah,
something like what we're trying to do right now, right?
Yes.
Like the older kids in high school will come and they would kind of mentor you and prepare you for when you're going to high school, or just things about life, period, I think.
I mean, like both.
Yeah, and so it's something like us, what we're doing now. We want to be a mentor for other people who might be going through school or something, and they need the answer. So it was kind of the same thing. What was some other things? Oh, you want to talk about when you first found out that you wanted to do voiceover work?
That would be fine. Like,
okay, go ahead.
Yes, during Rudy Elementary, and basically, I think I have told many of my peeps like on here the origin about how it happened. But for those who are interested about it, it happened when I attended Rudy Elementary School. We each had to bring a book that we had to read in front of the class. And I read Little Bill, The Day I Saw My Father Cry. And that was when my mom taught me like how to like read in different voices. Mm-hmm. At first I thought it was dumb, but later on I picked it up.
So you want to tell them why I told you to read in different voices though?
Well, it's simple. Like whenever like a character talks, like you can't just do the same voice that you got right now because that's just lazy.
And it helps you to know that it's a different person talking, remember?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Oh no! You didn't do.
Go ahead.
You didn't do
Okay,
anything.
go ahead.
But yeah, I haven't really got fully interested when I got into half of elementary and fully into middle school. That's where it happened.
Yeah. So from there, he just started drawing, and I think he had like over. I think right now you have how many characters drawn? Like his own creative characters drawn.
Oh yes, and about that during the time, like there was that one time where mom said like I had to stop like copying from others and come up with my own. Like,
that's right.
I was having a difficult time thinking about that, but now, it seems it's going well for me.
Yeah. And that was just a different thing, teaching him that there's a difference between having your own creative ideas and copying some other people. So we had to work through that as well. But I think Shyheem has over 500 characters right now that he's created of his own. Original characters, not copying anybody else's. He's very talented at drawing, not tracing, but drawing straight from what he sees. So that's another talent Shyheem has.
Oh, but also like when it comes to copying, like there's a difference between copying and taking like inspiration from. Like
right, exactly.
There's a complete difference, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that at all. And then I'll also remember when he went to his IEP meetings or whenever we first got started, it was very important, and I want parents out there to understand, it's very important, if at all possible, that you make sure that your child is being treated as normal as possible. So it was important for me for him to be in an all-inclusive classroom and for him to have as little help as possible, because I didn't want him to be pacified. I wanted him to be able to do things on his own as much as possible. And I think that helped a lot too, because when you're in a classroom and you're with other kids, then you learn what is expected of you. You learn what's the proper way to behave and things like that. So I think I would say that it benefited you being in a classroom with other kids who weren't like you as well, right? I mean, in your classroom, you still had some people who was autistic also, remember?
Well,
in some of your classes?
Not some of the classes. Just I don't think that happened until like what, like
high school?
No. Well, eventually high school.
Yeah,
like
eventually
a little
high
bit,
school. Yeah,
a little bit middle school and high school.
Yeah, but it's very important. They learn a lot from other kids, so it's important for them to have as normal of a school life as possible. So I just want to make sure that you make sure that you reiterate that to those people that you're asking for help. Also, oh man. Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna fast forward, we're jumping all over the place with school. But do you remember? I remember when Shyheem got to high school that I was called into an IEP meeting, and they were saying that Shyheem was gonna run his own meetings, which is very important also because it teaches them to be their own advocate. So I came in and Shyheem was in charge of reading all the minutes and saying who was supposed to speak next. And then they told me roundabout when, I think during that school year, he was going to turn 18. And I was called in and they told me, Mom, let me tell you something. Shyheem can make up his own decisions now. If he decides that he doesn't want to do anything, you don't have a say-so because he's 18. And I was so hurt. Because I was like, what do you mean he can do it all on his own? He can't do it on his own. He still needs me. But that was the rules. You know, he had turned 18. And even if he said he didn't want me to be in his meetings anymore, that was the choice that he had. So that was another thing that was really hard.
Oh, wait, did I say yes or no? Because like it's...
No, you didn't say yes or no. I don't even think you knew that you had that choice. No, they actually told you. They actually told you, like, once you turn 18, these decisions are on your own. So it was kind of hurtful for me as a mom because I was so used to being there, but that was the decisions that was made. What else did we want to talk about? Oh, you want to talk about riding the bus? Was that hard or no?
It wasn't hard. Like it's just normal. Like nothing ever happened.
Did you have to sit in the front or the back, or was it cool wherever you sat?
It didn't matter. But there were times. No wait, I think it was at like elementary or middle school where they did seating arrangements, but it's either seating arrangements or sitting wherever we want to.
Yeah. So it really didn't affect you that much. Let's talk about prom. You want to talk about prom? Or no, which one? Let's talk about homecoming first, because homecoming came first, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you want to start them talking about? So Shyheem did go to homecoming, and he went to. I think you went. What grade was that? 11.
That was.
Remember, we went and we took you, and then you hurry up and came right back.
Yes.
Okay, so you want to tell them what happened there?
I mean, yeah, it wasn't really that easy. Like everyone else like had dates there and stuff, and I was feeling like a little bit uncomfortable because I was expecting like somebody to like be there. Like I think I just kind of like misheard. Like I was given information from my friend Carly, and this is a different type of Carly. Like there are many different like Carlys out there that are friends to me, but it just didn't work out, and I just went home, and I felt like I just wasted. I wasted like the whole thing.
Yeah. So we got, well, not really wasted the whole thing. I think we got dressed and everything, and we just wanted Shyheem to experience it for himself. So your dad took you over, and we told you to go ahead in, and that if you would stay out here for a while, and if you felt uncomfortable, then just call us or come back outside and we'd be there. But you went inside, and then what? You went inside, and then what happened? It was just nobody there?
Nobody that I recognized him.
So I'm thinking that he went in and thought that his group of friends would be there, because in his mind he had an expectation that that's how it would go because of things that you've seen or things that you thought you heard people talking about, but it wasn't that at all. And so that was definitely a learning experience for us, because we knew then that it's probably better for him to get with a group of people if he was going to go somewhere instead of trying to meet them there. So then when homecoming came along, right? In 12, prom. So when prom came along, who asked you? You don't have to say her whole name, just say her first name.
I'm like, yeah, Danica.
So then she asked him to go to prom. And of course, me being mom, I had some concerns because it's prom. And I just wanted to make sure that Shyheem wasn't being used as like a sympathy charity case type thing, so I had a whole lot of concerns because I just didn't, I don't know, I just didn't feel safe about him going out, but we had to let him go. And so he had a date, and she came and picked him up, and you can take it from there. Go ahead.
It wasn't really a date. It was kind of like,
okay,
like
not a date.
Yeah, like I did like went with a group. Like it was fine. A little bit. It just didn't really go well as planned. Because
but tell them why it didn't go planned. You don't have to say who did what, but you can tell them why.
Like we just went like all like off course and stuff. Like we did like go to the place where like I met like all my friends and stuff. We took pictures and everything, but we didn't make it in time to like see Avengers Endgame. Okay.
So this is where we can talk about routine. So we talked a little bit about kids that have autism are very routine. And if you tell them this is what we're going to do, then they hold you to that. So there was a whole plan because, of course, as a parent, I wanted to know, what are y'all going to do? So this was the plan. They were supposed to go to the event. From there, they were going to take pictures. Then you were going to go eat. And then you were going to the movie.